Hey everyone, this is your host Elif from Antler Canada, and you are listening to Founder Files. Founder Files is a series of conversations with founders in the earliest days of their entrepreneurial journey. You'll learn about their experiences of finding a co-founder, validating ideas, and finding product market fit. Let's get started. All right, welcome Zane. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thanks so much for having me. I guess my story is not as long as other founders in the Antler program. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario, which is about 3 hours south of Toronto, where the cohort's taking place right now. I went to the University of Michigan to complete my undergrad degree in economics and a bit of sales. I did a few internships there in the marketing and advertising space. And then after I graduated, I moved to Toronto to work at Uber. After a few months there, I was working on the startup for a while, this idea I had. And through some of the guys at OneEleven, I got introduced to the Antler team. I met Bernie, met Naaman and his dad, funny enough, and then applied to the cohort. I went through the interview process and was very grateful to get in. And I guess that brings me to today.
Oh, that's amazing. Tell us a bit about what you're working on right now. You said you had this idea when you were still at Uber, and is it the same idea that you're continuing to work on today? And why did this problem kind of stick out to you?
Yeah, so I'll actually kind of the quick story of how it came about. So when I was out in Michigan, I did an internship with a Series B company out in New York City. I worked under an awesome VP of marketing. She was always really innovative and had this thing called the abundance mindset, which always stuck with me. So they had a trade show in Vegas, and with the abundance mindset in mind, that's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
She was like, how can we stick out at this trade show? She's like, we should get a blimp and fly our logo over it. And I was like, that's incredible, so cool. And part of my job was to go out and find that. We did end up finding a blimp and tried to land on some other marketing and advertising opportunities around the city on the strip there, but it was kind of a difficult process to do. So the original idea was creating a marketplace for all types of ad space. Marketing teams, even small businesses, small business owners can get the same experience on Google Ads that they can for all other types of advertising. So we're signing up a bunch of billboard companies, even like events, if you want to sponsor events, podcasts, even a few athletes. Like we had an Olympic athlete that we were talking to through a connection at Antler, actually, which is pretty nice. But I ended up seeing a lot of traction in the podcasting space and even a bit of the creator space as well. So when we were talking to brands, they were saying, hey, what podcast do you have? What creators can you help us work with? And we found a kind of a problem there where that gap wasn't filled, and creators and podcasts have time communicating their ideas and communicating almost like a media kit or kind of their offerings to brands. So right now we're focused on talking to a bunch of podcasters and a few creators and learn about what problems they're experiencing and how we can solve it with kind of the solution that we've been working on.
I love that because it resonates with me a lot, not from a podcast angle, but as a YouTube creator. I really feel that is an issue, like in terms of communicating the value and being consistent in terms of getting that brand deals or sponsorships or ads, whatever you want to call them. And streamlining that process does seem like a really good idea. And did you have a co-founder when you started to think about this idea? Did you have someone in mind, or did you find a co-founder here?
Yeah, I found a co-founder at Antler, which is awesome. And it was an interesting process. I took a lot of time. I think I was a little slower than some of the other founders and residences at Antler Canada, just because I came in with this idea and really wanted to make sure there's a strong fit with some of the other co-founders that I was going to bring onto my team. But Antler is really awesome. Antler Canada was awesome in bringing in a really talented room. So actually, I don't want to call them options, but I had a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of people and see who would be a good fit for this problem, for the solution, and this customer outreach stage that we're at. So I met some really incredible people and decided to team up with two guys who are super experienced where I lacked. So I was really happy with the outcome.
Awesome. That's wonderful to hear. And you already signaled it, but we take a lot of pride in obviously bringing great talent into this room and giving that opportunity for everyone to meet each other. And just wanted to ask you, like, how you felt about the backgrounds and the accomplishments of the founders in the group. Like, we had approximately 40% technical founders in the group, which is quite a good ratio. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. So something cool that I got to do, I know Johan, shout out Johan. He gave us nice early access to like the old office. So I was there kind of like 4 weeks early to the program, maybe three, however, whenever that started. And I actually got to meet some of the founders, five of them. There's five of us that are in there, in and out of the office every day, which is pretty nice. I got to know some people early and it was like immediately like, super impressed. Like one of the first people I met, who's now my advisor now, is incredibly talented. I never would have met someone so incredible, smart, and helpful if it wasn't for Antler. So I'm super grateful for that. And just getting to meet some of the other people in the cohort, I feel like I've learned so much that I wouldn't have been able to without Antler. So being one of the youngest, or I think I am the youngest here, I was the most inexperienced. I really came in with a learning mindset, trying to get to know people, what has worked for them in their careers and why they're here now. So now that we're in the new office, I get to meet all 55 people in the cohort. I guess I just kept learning a lot and kind of soaking everything in terms of information and experiences, and even like some good friendships that
I agree. Even like being in that room is a learning opportunity in itself. Just hearing the stories and the things that everyone's working on has been very inspiring for us, the team as well. So I'm very glad to hear that. And just maybe an additional question. So now that we are in OneEleven, we're also getting to meet like other teams that get to work out of that space. Do you see that as a benefit? Have you met other people, other founders that are working out of OneEleven?
Yeah, for sure. Like one thing, there's a lot of nights here where we're working a little late, and there's always events going on in the kitchen area. Like it's a big kitchen for people that are listening. Like it's a huge kitchen with like there's a garage. I don't even know how to explain it. Just being in this ecosystem is a really good opportunity to meet new people, especially in the industry. Getting good introductions from the Antler team. When you go to an event with the Antler team, it's good for them. Like I always bug Johan, hey, is there anyone I should meet here? And he always makes a good introduction. So yeah, the OneEleven space has been great.
Yeah, agreed. Same for us as well. Just like being in that ecosystem and immersing ourselves with the events that are happening, the people that are coming in and out of the space has been very helpful and inspiring. And so I want to get back to your idea, the business you're working on, the stage you're currently in, and how you're validating your idea.
Yeah, so bringing two new people on the team has been really interesting because I was doing this by myself. A lot of signups in the non-podcasting space, and I had to relearn everything. So we're really going back to talking to users, making sure we're solving a meaningful problem. So what our goals have looked like is really just talk to as many users as we can. On the weekend, we went to a podcasting event. It's funny that we're working in the podcasting space. Yeah. We're on a podcast, obviously. We went to an event next door at the Metro Toronto Convention Center and spoke to a few podcasters there, which was really awesome. So I think we're optimizing for learning. We're definitely getting some signups or people who are interested, but I think we're trying to stay away from the idea a bit, but more focused on the problem for the time being.
Yeah, that sounds logical. And do you have a landing page, website, etc., that people can start following or they can stay up to date with what's happening?
Yeah, the best way to do that is probably our LinkedIn. The website we have right now that is launched is old. It's got a lot of good signups on there, but we're shifting to our new area of focus. It's not quite ready yet. We have a lot of mock-ups that we're working on, and we might launch it today. A very simple wait list. But I don't know, I gotta regroup with the guys and see.
Well, awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing a landing page with a wait list then. And if by the time this episode is out, if you already have that landing page, we'll definitely have it in the show notes as well.
Sounds good. Yeah. We'll try to make that happen then.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So I was gonna weave into now your experience in Antler. We already talked about it a little bit. Maybe just tell us about what your expectations were coming into Antler, and did you end up finding them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess my expectations were like I talked to a few people that were in the cohort before. I just listened to what people told me. They were like, it's what you make out of it, like how much effort you put in. So my expectations were to meet really cool, interesting people, which definitely is true. I guess my expectations were to be in an environment that I could really learn a lot and move this idea forward. And my expectation was I'm going to put as much into this as I can. And that's definitely been true. I'm definitely not the only one coming in the office every single day. There's people here on the weekend, which is great. So my expectation was definitely met. And I'd recommend this program to almost anyone who's working on an early stage idea.
Oh, that's amazing. That's just great to hear. And yeah, it does make a lot of difference having this program in person. I get the sense from what you're sharing as well. You agree that just being in the office, being in person, randomly meeting people working in the next office maybe is actually moving you forward every single day. And those random conversations that can spark different ideas or different connections.
Yeah, for sure. And even some of the coolest or most insightful and nicest people I've met in this office is actually the OneEleven team itself. Like anyone from Matthew and Samuel and even Hannah have all been super welcoming, super helpful, and super grateful to been able to connect with them in person too.
Shout out to the OneEleven team. They have absolutely been amazing and a huge part of what we're doing right now. So we talked about like meeting all these amazing people in the cohort in OneEleven as well. But have you had the chance to meet external VC funds or maybe other mentors through Antler? And has that also contributed to your journey?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely, I think 5 or 6 VCs we've met before, all with a different take on what we're doing, which is really interesting. Some that are just really like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Here's some advice or keep in touch. Some where this isn't our domain expertise at all. Here's some tips. Like I usually come prepared with pretty specific questions. So that's been helpful. And then even one VC where it's like, hey, why isn't this launched yet? Like come back to me in a month and show us where you are with like your users and stuff. So I met like a lot of different perspectives in the VC world that I wouldn't have been able to have access to or would have took a little more effort before.
True. Super cool. Okay. What was your favorite session or highlight moment from the program so far? And just for context, we are completing week 6.
Yeah, Friday, week 6. So I'm trying to think of what to highlight. Maybe let's talk about all of them quickly. I think one of my favorite, I honestly, they're all pretty equal, but like Tyler Norwood's session from like Antler US was really awesome. He was like super real, genuine. Like I felt like I was like listening to like my friend talk about his founder experience, his like philosophy around like startups, which was really cool and insightful. Matthew Lombardi from OneEleven also had a really interesting session. He talked about like the Canadian VC space, and I thought I've never met someone who just had so much insight to the space before and learned a ton that I had no clue about. And then Chris Carter's session was also really inspiring, just like the hustle he had. And I think most people were probably like motivated from that talk after learning about that or hearing from him. People were like, whoa, like, let's get going. Also, Bryce had an interesting session, asked him a few questions after about like my specific industry, which we're working on, and which he had some interesting things to say about it.
Oh, that's cool. Definitely some of those sessions also stood out for me as well. I probably particularly highlight Tyler's session and Chris's session. I found them to be very inspiring as well. And even after Chris's session, I was feeling like I need to get out of my box and I need to just push my comfort zone a lot more than what I do already.
Yeah, and I think Alex Wright has been a great help for me. Same with Johan Hirsch. Just having some time with the Antler Canada team themselves, like getting them in a room and having a real conversation with them about what it is we're working on is pretty priceless.
Amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. And maybe just like final words of wisdom or recommendations for aspiring entrepreneurs, people who are considering Antler, or anything you'd like to share or call to action maybe.
You definitely check out Antler. I think that's my first piece of advice. If my advice is worth anything, check out the website, do an information session, reach out to someone in the program. That's probably actually the best thing you could do. Get like firsthand experience.
This video is going to be super insightful as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like someone in your country or city, just reach out and learn and connect with people. In terms of like early founder stuff, do more customer discovery than you think. And then, yeah, I guess I like to keep things short so people like focus almost on one thing.
Yeah, those are very important points and definitely backing them up. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. I really enjoyed getting to know you more and hearing your thoughts and experience about the past 6 weeks at Antler. And thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thanks for your time. This was really fun. Definitely something I haven't done before. If people want to connect with me, LinkedIn, I think I'll link my Twitter or something. So I just got a Twitter. It's pretty new.
I feel like we had a lot of new Twitter profiles that were born after starting the residency at Antler. So
yeah,
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep doing it. That's very valuable. Awesome. Thank you. Take care.